What inspired me to start Real Stories was a few things. One is that I have worked in this industry since I was 16 years old, and I was often one of the only women in the room, and I really wanted to see how I could have more colleagues. And the other part was the fact that I had a daughter, that I wanted her to see herself represented better in the media. So I just really wanted to see if we could have an experiment to see if we could get girls interested in working with other girls on making media that matters to them. And most importantly, give adult women the opportunity to mentor young women with the skill sets that they had, because I knew so many talented and impressive adult women that I wanted them to have that opportunity to share their skills with younger women. What I found is that we have these beliefs that especially teenage girls can't work well together, and that women in positions of power will hold people back. And those things are not true. And I think that they are believed because we see them played out in the media so often. We see Mean Girls, or we see this sort of trope of one girl hanging out with three guys. And there's nothing wrong with that if that is factual, but there's also, girls and women and their relationships are on a spectrum, and we don't see that spectrum represented at all.
I think for a long time, because there is a lack of diversity and inclusion behind the scenes, that there's only one narrative, and especially for women of color, it's one tone. But people of color are multifaceted. They have many tones, they're from many places, they act different everywhere. Everyone acts different, everyone's unique, but we stereotype. And because there's not a diversity, we stereotype and we box in and we say, well, black women, they're only angry, or they're single mothers, or they're just like this, and that's it. And that's the roles they play, and that's the roles that they get. And black men are the thugs, or they're like this, and they are like the gangsters or the hustlers, and that's the only tone that they get. You don't get to see a variety of tones, but if it's a Caucasian person, they can be anything. They can be a robber, a banker, a superhero, a villain. You don't really know. But if you see a person of color, you automatically stereotype them with some type of category. And that's a problem. We shouldn't subconsciously do that. We should be able to see anybody and think they could be anything. A woman can be anything. A person of color can be anything. So this is why representation is important. Everybody needs a voice. Everyone needs to have different roles.
We have different ways that we do work, in any kind of industry. And so it's really important to have that diversity of opinions and lifestyles and backgrounds. Media is huge, it's everything, and we have to make it, as diverse and representative of us as we possibly can.
Esther and Camp Real Stories made me realize that there's other girls out there with similar and differing opinions as me, but other girls who want to be heard just like I do, and are willing to work together with me to be heard. If you look anywhere in the world, pretty much, it's affected by media to some degree, by pop culture to some degree. So if you have such a big influence, it needs to be a positive influence, and that's what we need to be doing by putting more women behind the camera.
Volunteering for Camp Real Stories was probably one of the most life-changing events that I've ever done. And after that first year, I was like, I gotta take my vacation, I gotta do this again. And this is now my 4th year of volunteering with Camp Real Stories, because it might have been Esther that inspired me to come in the first place, but year after year, it is seeing these tremendous young voices, and it literally inspires me to feed me and go back and do what I do every day and do more of it, because I'm inspired by the campers themselves.
In the future, I hope that women are better represented in film, and they're not just treated as women in film, but rather as people in film, as directors, not female directors, not female writers. We have just as much of an opinion on everything as men do, and we shouldn't be limited to our gender.
I don't want to see the world just come to a kind of standstill and be like, okay, we've reached it, we have, female directors in Hollywood, that's all we need, and just stop there. I want to see progress go beyond that.
My advice to anyone that wants to make a change is to just make it. It's not that difficult. You need to find people that agree with you and that will help you, because it can be hard at times, and there's definitely times where it can be frustrating. Change makes everybody uncomfortable, so you need to figure out how you want to see that change happen in the world and just put one foot in front of the other and create it. I would also say the biggest thing that you can do is to find out other people that are doing something similar to you and figure out how you can work collaboratively with them.
I think Camp Real Stories might be the only reason that I'm going anywhere in life at this point, even when it's not related to film.
Without Esther, there wouldn't be a Camp Real Stories, and I wouldn't have gotten as much into the film industry as I am now.
Esther's given me a voice, she's given me the knowledge, she's given me the perspective. And without Esther, where would any of us be? I mean, in this camp and in life, because you're making the next generation of filmmakers, the next generation of Oscar winners, the next generation of people, and it's historic, and this is a historic moment, and everyone that's around is in history. So Camp Real Stories has really done a number on me. It's really changed my perspective.